The human ship Aegis moved through space like a silver needle threading through black cloth. Captain Woo Bin Lee stood on the bridge watching the stars grow brighter as they approached their destination. Behind him, Ambassador Dae-ho Kim adjusted, his formal diplomatic robes for the 100th time that day. "Still nervous?" Soo-Jin Park asked from her security station. Her fingers moved across her control panel, checking weapon systems one more time. She had trained for 15 years to protect human diplomats, but this mission felt different. They were flying into the unknown. Dae-ho smiled and smoothed his dark hair. "Not nervous, just careful. We are about to meet beings who have ruled the galaxy for longer than humans have existed. One wrong word could doom our entire species." Nari Choi looked up from her communications console. "Sir, I am receiving the first transmissions from Nexus Prime. The translation programs are working, but some concepts do not translate well. They keep referring to us as the young meat things from the Outer Rim." Woo Bin frowned. He had fought in 3 wars before becoming a ship captain, and he knew insults when he heard them. "Ambassador, are you sure about this peaceful approach? These beings do not sound friendly. Captain, we must try diplomacy first. Earth needs allies, not enemies. Our planet has barely reached the stars while these creatures have built an empire spanning thousands of worlds. We cannot fight them, so we must convince them to accept us." The view screen flickered and showed their destination. Nexus Prime hung in space like a massive crystal flower. The station was larger than Earth's moon, its surfaces covered in towers that spiraled up into space. Ships from a dozen different species moved around it like insects around a bright light. "By the ancestors," Nari whispered. "Look at the size of that thing. How did they build something so huge?" Dae-ho moved to stand beside the captain. "That is why we need their friendship, Captain. Imagine what humans could learn from beings who can create such wonders." Soo-Jin checked her screens again. "Ambassador, I am reading at least 50 different ship types out there. Some of them have weapons that could destroy our entire fleet. Are you sure we should go in there with just one ship?" "Yes, Chief Park. We go in peace, with open hands. If we brought a fleet, they would see it as a threat. One ship shows we trust them." The Aegis moved closer to the station. Other ships made way for them, their alien crews probably staring at the strange human vessel. Woo Bin had insisted on bringing their best ship, but even the Aegis looked primitive compared to the vessels around them. "Incoming transmission," Nari announced. "The station is giving us docking instructions. Bay 779. They want us to follow a escort ship." A crystalline vessel appeared on their starboard side. It looked like it was made of living glass, its surface shifting colors as it moved. Woo Bin had never seen anything like it. "That must be a Vorthak ship," Dae-ho said, consulting his notes. "They are one of the oldest species in the Council. Their bodies are made of some kind of living crystal." The escort led them through a maze of docking bays. Each bay held ships from different species. Woo Bin saw vessels that looked like metal, flowers, others that seemed to be made of flowing water, and some that hurt his eyes to look at directly. "The diversity is incredible," Nari said. 12 different species all working together. This is what we want to join." Soo-Jin was less impressed. 12 species that have probably been planning how to deal with us since we first sent radio signals into space. Do not forget, Ambassador. They have had decades to prepare for this meeting. We have had months." The Aegis settled into its assigned docking bay with a soft thud. Through the viewports, they could see alien workers moving around in environmental suits. Some walked on legs, others floated, and a few seemed to slide along on tentacles. "Final weapons check complete," Soo-Jin reported. "All systems ready, but remember, no weapons are allowed in the council chambers. We go in armed only with words." Dae-ho nodded. "As it should be. Captain, you and Chief Park will accompany me. Specialist Choi, you will monitor all communications from the ship." "Understood, sir," Nari replied. "I will record everything and maintain contact as long as possible." The 3 humans made their way to the airlock. Dae-ho carried a small case containing gifts from Earth and formal documents outlining humanity's request for membership. Soo-Jin carried nothing but watched everything with the eyes of a trained soldier. Woo Bin walked beside them, his dress, uniform crisp, and his bearing proud. The airlock opened to reveal a corridor that stretched beyond sight. The walls were covered in patterns that seemed to move when not looked at directly. Alien symbols glowed softly, providing light that felt strange to human eyes. "Welcome, humans." The voice came from a creature that looked like a walking tree made of metal. "I am Guide Kethmore of the Dendrite Collective. I will escort you to the council chambers." Daeho bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Guide Kethmore. I am Ambassador Daeho Kim, representing Earth and all humanity. These are Captain Woobin Lee and Chief Soo-Jin Park." The metal tree creature's head tilted in what might have been acknowledgement. "Follow the path. Do not touch the walls. Do not speak until spoken to in the chambers. The Council of 12 awaits." They walked through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy. Woobin saw creatures of gas that floated in containment fields, insect-like beings with many arms, and things that defied description. All of them stopped to stare at the humans as they passed. "They have never seen our species before," Soo-Jin observed quietly. "Good," Daeho replied. "That means we still have the advantage of being unknown. They cannot predict what we might do." The corridor opened into a vast chamber with a domed ceiling that showed the stars outside. 12 raised platforms surrounded a central area where a single chair waited. On each platform stood or floated representatives of the council species. Guide Kethmore gestured for them to stop. "Ambassador Daeho Kim, of the species called humans, you may approach and state your business before the Council of 12. Daeho walked forward alone, his footsteps echoing in the huge chamber. He reached the center and bowed to each platform in turn. "Honored council members, I come before you as a representative of humanity. We are a young species, recently arrived, among the stars, but we come in peace and friendship. We seek membership in your great alliance, that we might learn from your wisdom and contribute our own unique gifts to the galaxy." A voice like crystals chiming spoke from one platform. "Human, creature, your species has existed for mere moments compared to ours. What could you possibly offer beings who have shaped the galaxy for millions of years?" Daeho straightened his shoulders. "Honored Vorthak Elder, we offer fresh perspectives, new solutions to old problems, and the enthusiasm of youth. Humanity may be young, but we have survived and thrived on a dangerous world. We have learned to adapt, to overcome challenges through cooperation and innovation." Another voice, this one sounding like wind through leaves, came from a different platform. "The human speaks of cooperation, yet their world is filled with conflict. They fight among themselves constantly. Why should we trust a species that cannot even achieve peace on one small planet? Honored Melody Chorus, you speak truly of our past conflicts, but those very struggles have taught us the value of unity. When faced with challenges that threaten our survival, humans come together as one. Our differences make us stronger, not weaker." The questioning continued for hours. Each council member probed different aspects of human nature, technology, and society. Daeho answered every question with patience and honesty, painting a picture of humanity as a species ready to join the galactic community. As the session drew to a close, the Vorthak Elder spoke again. "The council will deliberate on your request, human ambassador. You will remain on the station while we consider your words. We will have an answer within 3 of your Earth days." Daeho bowed deeply. "Thank you for your consideration, honored council. Whatever your decision, humanity is grateful for this opportunity to speak before such august beings." Guide Kethmore led them back through the corridors to their assigned quarters near the docking bay. The rooms were large and comfortable, clearly designed to accommodate many different types of beings. "How do you think it went?" Woobin asked once they were alone. Daeho sat heavily in a chair that adjusted itself to his human form. "Better than I feared, not as well as I hoped. They listened, which is more than many expected when we left Earth." Soo-Jin activated her security, sweeps, checking for listening devices. "I do not trust them, Ambassador. Did you see how they looked at us? Like we were interesting insects they were considering whether to step on." "Perhaps, Chief Park. But remember, we are asking them to accept us as equals when we have barely left our home system. To them, we must seem like children asking to sit at the adult table." Outside their windows, the vast station continued its ancient work, Ships arrived and departed, carrying trade and information between worlds humanity had never seen. Somewhere, in this maze of corridors and chambers, 12 ancient species debated the fate of the human race. Daiho stood at the window, watching the stars wheel slowly past. He thought of Earth, small and blue and far away, where 8 billion humans waited, to learn if they would have friends or enemies among the stars. The council chambers were dark when the 12 species gathered in secret session. No human eyes witnessed this meeting. No human ears heard the words that would seal Ambassador Daiho Kim's fate. The Vorthak Elder's crystalline form pulsed with angry red light. The human creature spoke well, but words are just noise. I have reviewed their historical data. These beings achieved interstellar flight in less than 100 years after their first powered flight. Do you understand what this means? The fauna melody chorus swirled in their containment field, their gaseous forms shifting colors. We achieved the same development over 10 million years. They compress our entire technological evolution into mere decades. Exactly, the elder replied. Project their growth rate forward. In 1,000 years, they will surpass us all. In 10,000 years, they will rule the galaxy. They must be stopped now while they are still weak. A voice like clicking chitin came from the Kithara Hive Queen. The mathematics are clear. No species has ever advanced so quickly. They are an anomaly, a threat to the natural order. High above the secret meeting, Hyunwoo Jong worked quietly in the Human Intelligence Station. He was officially listed as a communications technician, but his real job was gathering information. His equipment, disguised as standard human technology, recorded everything within a kilometer radius. Nari, are you monitoring the station's internal communications? He asked through his earpiece. Yes, but most channels are encrypted beyond our current capabilities. I am picking up increased chatter, though. Something has the aliens excited. Hyunwoo frowned at his displays. Keep monitoring. Something feels wrong about this whole situation. In the medical bay of the Aegis, Dr. Yoonji Seo was preparing for what she hoped would be a routine diplomatic mission. She had studied alien biology for years, preparing for humanity's first contact with other species. Her medical bay was equipped with the most advanced human medical technology. Dr. Seo, came a voice over the comm system. This is Captain Lee. The ambassador will be dining with council members tonight. I want you standing by in case there are any biological compatibility issues. Understood, Captain. I have prepared neutralizing agents for most known toxins, and my sensors can detect cellular damage at the molecular level. What Dr. Seo did not know was that the Council had been preparing for this moment much longer than humanity had been preparing for first contact. In laboratories hidden deep within Nexus Prime, Vorthak scientists had been working on a very specific project. The weapon they created was elegant in its simplicity. It looked like water, tasted like water, and would pass every test that human technology could perform. But when it entered a human bloodstream, it would begin a slow process of molecular dissolution. The bioweapon is ready, reported the Kithara scientist to the secret council session. It will cause what appears to be natural cellular breakdown. The humans will believe their ambassador died from biological incompatibility with our station environment. The Vorthak Elder's light pulsed with satisfaction. Perfect. And our fleet preparations? 7 battle groups are already moving toward human space, the melody chorus responded. They will arrive shortly after we dispose of the ambassador. The humans will be too shocked and leaderless to mount effective resistance. Meanwhile, Ambassador Daiho was preparing for what he believed would be a friendly dinner. He had been invited to a private meal with 3 council members, which he saw as a positive sign. This is encouraging, he told Captain Woobin. They would not invite me to dine if they planned to reject our application immediately. Sujin, Park checked her equipment one more time. I still do not like you going alone, Ambassador. At least let me accompany you as security. No, Chief Park. They specifically requested that I come alone. We must show trust if we expect to receive it. The dinner was held in a small chamber designed for interspecies meetings. The lighting was soft, and the air was carefully filtered to be breathable by all attending species. 3 council members waited for Daiho, the Vorthak Elder, a representative of the Melody Chorus, and a Kithara sub-queen. Welcome, Ambassador Kim, the Elder said, its voice creating harmonics in the crystal walls. We thought it would be beneficial to speak more informally about your species and their intentions. The meal was provided in human-compatible form, though Daiho suspected it was artificially synthesized. The conversation was pleasant, focusing on human culture, history, and achievements. Daiho found himself relaxing as the evening progressed. Your species shows remarkable adaptability, the Melody representative noted. You have survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, and global wars. Most species do not endure such trials and still reach the stars. We have learned that survival requires both individual strength and collective cooperation. Daiho replied. Perhaps that is what we can bring to the galactic community. The Kythera sub-queen clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. Tell us, Ambassador, what are your species' long-term goals? Do you seek to expand throughout the galaxy? We hope to grow and learn, honored Kythera. Humanity dreams of exploring new worlds, meeting new peoples, and contributing to galactic civilization. We have no desire for conquest, only for knowledge and friendship. As the evening ended, the Vorthak Elder offered a final toast. To understanding. Between species, it said, raising a crystal container filled with what appeared to be water. Daiho raised his own glass. To friendship among the stars. He drank deeply, not noticing the slight metallic aftertaste. The bioweapon was already beginning its work. Back aboard the Aegis, Hyunwoo was becoming increasingly concerned about the communications he was intercepting. Nari, I am picking up massive encrypted data bursts from the station to locations throughout Council space. This is not normal diplomatic traffic. I am seeing the same thing, Nari replied. And there are ships moving in the outer system, large ships, moving in formation. Captain Wubin received their report with growing unease. Continue monitoring. If this goes bad, we need to know before it happens. Dr. Seo was in her quarters when the emergency call came. Doctor, please report to the ambassador's quarters immediately. He has collapsed. She found Daiho on the floor of his room, his body convulsing. His skin was pale and cold, and his breathing was shallow and rapid. Get him to medical bay immediately, she ordered the security team. In the medical bay, Dr. Seo worked frantically to save the ambassador's life. Her scanners showed cellular breakdown throughout his body, but the pattern made no sense. This is not natural, she muttered, running test after test. Something is attacking his DNA directly, but I cannot identify what. Captain Wubin stood beside the medical bed, watching his friend and leader fighting for his life. Can you stop it, Doctor? I am trying everything. But this is unlike anything in our medical databases. It is as if something is unraveling his molecular structure. From the inside, Daiho's eyes opened briefly, focusing on the captain with great effort. Wubin, he whispered. Tell them, we tried to be peaceful. But if they want war, give them what they deserve. Those were his last words. Within minutes, Ambassador Daiho Kim was dead, his body dissolving at the cellular level. Dr. Seo stared at her readings in horror. Captain, this was not natural. Someone poisoned him with something designed specifically to kill humans. The official council response came within hours. The Vorthak Elder's message was formal and cold. The council regrets the unfortunate biological incompatibility that led to the human ambassador's death. Such reactions, while rare, can occur when species from different evolutionary backgrounds interact. We offer our condolences to the human species and regret that membership in the council is not possible at this time due to these biological concerns. Captain Wubin read the message with fury building in his chest. Biological incompatibility, he repeated. They murdered him. Sujin Park was checking her security recordings from the dinner. Captain, something is wrong with the surveillance data from the ambassador's meal. Key sections have been corrupted or erased. That confirms it, Wubin said. Hyunwoo, what about those ship movements you detected? Sir, long-range sensors? Show multiple fleets converging on vectors that lead directly to Earth. They will arrive in approximately 10 days. The full scope of the Council's plan was becoming clear. They had not just rejected humanity's application for membership, they had decided to eliminate humanity entirely. Nari, can you get a message to Earth? Wubin asked. Yes, sir, but they will detect it immediately. We will not be able to hide our transmission. Do it anyway. Earth must be warned. As Nari worked to prepare the quantum transmission, alarms began sounding throughout the Aegis. Council ships were surrounding them. Captain, Sujin reported, We have 12 vessels in attack formation around us. They are charging weapons. Wu Bin looked at his crew, seeing determination in their faces despite the hopeless odds. If we are going to die here, we will make... Sure, Earth knows the truth about what happened. The transmission burst out from the Aegis just as the first Council weapons fired. In it was the evidence of Ambassador Daeho's murder, proof of the Council's deception, and a warning about the incoming attack fleets. Most importantly, it contained Daeho's dying words. Tell them we tried to be peaceful. But if they want war, give them what they deserve. The quantum transmission from the Aegis reached Earth's orbital communication stations like a digital scream of warning. Admiral Kyung-ho Shin was drinking his morning coffee when the priority alert chimed on his personal communicator. Admiral, you need to see this immediately, came the voice of his aide. Priority Alpha transmission from deep space. Kyung-ho set down his cup and rushed to the command center. What he saw on the main display made his blood run cold. The recordings from Ambassador Daeho's final hours played in horrible detail, followed by sensor data showing massive alien fleets moving toward Earth. How long do we have? He asked. The computer analysis shows the alien fleets will arrive in 72 hours, sir, reported Commander Ji-hoon Kang. Their ships are using some kind of faster-than-light drive we have never seen before. Kyung-ho activated his emergency authority codes. Initiate Condition Red throughout all Earth defense systems. Contact President Chen and the Security Council immediately, and get me Dr. Jin A1. Within minutes, alarms were sounding in military installations across Earth and throughout the solar system. The Planetary Defense Initiative, a program that had been classified beyond top secret, suddenly became humanity's only hope. Dr. Jin A1 arrived at the command center, still wearing her laboratory clothes. Her gray hair was disheveled from running, but her eyes were sharp and focused. Admiral, I assume this is about the incoming alien threat? She asked. Doctor, how quickly can we activate the Shadow Protocol devices? Jin-A paused. The Shadow Protocol was theoretical, something she had been working on for years but never tested on a large scale. Sir, the prototypes have shown promise, but we have never deployed them operationally. The quantum entanglement matrices alone require precise calibration. Doctor, we have 72 hours before 12 different alien species arrive to exterminate humanity. I need to know if your project can stop them. Meanwhile, in the debris field where the Aegis had fought its final battle, Captain Wu Bin and Chief Soo-jin Park were very much alive. Their ship had been destroyed, but not before they had escaped in hidden life pods equipped with advanced stealth technology. How many others made it out? Wu Bin asked as they drifted through the wreckage. Scanners show at least 6 other life pods active, Soo-jin replied, including one containing Nari and Hyun-woo. They were not alone in the debris field. A small, alien vessel approached their location, its hull marked with symbols Soo-jin did not recognize. Unknown ship, this is Chief Park of the Earth vessel Aegis. Identify yourself. The response came in accented but understandable English. Human survivors, this is Tae-rin of the Dorathi Collective. We offer assistance. Soo-jin looked at Wu Bin questioningly. The captain nodded. Dorathi vessel, we accept your assistance. But know that if this is a trap, we will fight. The alien ship carefully collected the human life pods. Once aboard, the survivors found themselves face to face with beings that looked like humanoid. Dolphins, their skin glistening with moisture. I am Tae-rin, speaker for the Dorathi in this sector, their rescuer said. We did not support the Council's decision to eliminate your species. This action violates every principle we hold sacred. Wu Bin studied the alien carefully. Why should we trust you? Your council just murdered our ambassador and attacked our ship. Because, Captain Wu Bin Lee, the Dorathi have been slaves to the council for 3,000 years. We were the last species to be forcibly inducted, and we remember what it means, to face extinction. We will not stand by and watch it happen to another young species. Tyron led them through his ship, explaining the situation. The council fears your rapid advancement. Their projections show humans surpassing all council species within a few centuries. They decided to eliminate the threat before it could develop. How many council members supported this decision? Nari asked. 11 of the 12. Only the Dorathi voted against the extermination order. We were overruled, as we always are. Hyun-woo was studying the alien ship's technology. Your vessels, are far more advanced than ours. Why do you not rebel against the Council? Tayrin's expression grew sad. Because rebellion means the destruction of our homeworld. The Council holds our planet hostage. If we act against them, they will sterilize every Dorathi world. Back on Earth, the defense preparations were moving at a frantic pace. Hidden installations throughout the solar system were coming online, revealing capabilities that most of humanity never knew existed. Admiral Kyung-ho stood in the primary command center, watching status displays that showed the true extent of Earth's defenses. Orbital weapons platforms that had been disguised as communication satellites were charging their main guns. Automated defense ships hidden in asteroid fields were activating their systems. "Sir, the outer system sensor nets are detecting the first Council scout ships," reported Commander Kang. "They will reach sensor range of Earth in 18 hours. Good. Let them see what they expect to see. Keep the real defenses hidden until they commit to their attack." Dr. Wan was working frantically in her laboratory, surrounded by quantum computers and exotic matter containment fields. The Shadow Protocol devices were unlike anything humanity had ever built before. They used controlled dark matter to create localized space-time distortions. "Admiral, the first batch of devices is ready," she reported over the communication link. "But I must warn you, once we deploy these, there is no going back. The effects will be permanent until we choose to reverse them." "Doctor, what exactly will these devices do?" "They will block electromagnetic radiation in specific frequency ranges. In simple terms, they will prevent sunlight from reaching the surface of any world we target. The effect is gradual, but inexorable." Back in space, Tayrin was showing the human survivors something that filled them with hope. His ship carried advanced scanning equipment that revealed the true scope of the Council's attack. 12 battle fleets, each containing over 100 ships, he explained. "They plan to overwhelm your defenses through sheer numbers." "What they do not know," Captain Wubin said with a grim smile, "is that humans have been preparing for this possibility since we first detected radio signals from space." Sujin was studying the tactical displays. "Tayrin, would your people be willing to provide intelligence about Council fleet movements and capabilities?" "We will do more than that, Chief Park. There are other enslaved species within the Council structure. Many of them would gladly see their oppressors humbled." The first Council scouts reached Earth's outer detection grid exactly on schedule. Admiral Kyung-ho watched their movements on his displays, noting how they ignored what appeared to be primitive human satellites and communication relays. "They see what they expect to see," he told his staff. "A young species with limited technology. They have no idea what they are flying into." Dr. Wan activated the first test of the Shadow Protocol device from her laboratory. A small artificial black hole, no larger than a marble, appeared in a containment field. Dark matter swirled around, it in precise patterns. "Quantum entanglement confirmed," she reported. "The device is maintaining stable connection with its deployment coordinates. We can target any location in the galaxy." The main Council fleets arrived at the edge of the solar system like a plague of metal locusts. Their ships were massive, some larger than cities, their hulls gleaming with unknown alloys. Energy readings from their weapons systems showed they could reduce planets to ash. "Admiral, they are broadcasting on all frequencies," reported the communications officer. "They demand our immediate surrender." Kyung-ho read the message with cold fury. The Council offered humanity one choice: immediate submission and relocation to reservation worlds, or complete extermination. "Send our reply," the Admiral ordered. The message that went out to the Council fleets was simple. "You killed our diplomat. You threatened our world. You have made a grave error." The Council commander, a Vorthak admiral whose crystalline form pulsed with arrogant confidence, dismissed the human response. "Primitive creatures making empty threats. Begin the attack." What happened next would be discussed in military academies for generations to come. The moment the Council ships crossed the orbit of Pluto, Earth's hidden defenses revealed themselves. Weapons platforms that had been disguised as asteroids opened fire with particle beams that cut through Council shields like they were not there. Automated ships swarmed out of hidden bases, their AI-controlled systems adapting to alien tactics in real time. But the most terrifying surprise was yet to come. As the Council fleets pressed their attack toward Earth, Dr. Wan activated the first operational Shadow Protocol device. The device materialized in space near the Vorthak homeworld, 1,500 light-years away. It began its work immediately, using quantum manipulation to bend space-time around the planet's star. On the Vorthak homeworld, the first sign was a slight dimming of their ancient sun. Within hours, the dimming became noticeable. Within days, their world would begin its slide into eternal twilight. "Admiral, we are receiving priority transmissions from SciFiPrime," reported the Council Fleet's communications officer. "They report solar anomalies affecting their homeworld." The Vorthak Admiral's confidence wavered. "Solar anomalies? What kind of anomalies?" Before anyone could answer, similar reports began flooding in from other Council homeworlds. The battle for Earth raged across the solar system as Council fleets discovered that humanity was far from defenseless. Admiral Kyung-ho watched from the command center as his hidden defenses systematically dismantled ships that had conquered. 1,000 worlds! "Status report," he called out over the sounds of tactical coordination. "Sir, we have destroyed 47 Council vessels with minimal losses," reported Commander Kang. "Their weapons cannot penetrate our adaptive shielding, and our AI-controlled ships are learning their attack patterns faster than they can adapt." General Dong-Soo Bei burst into the command center, his Marine uniform dusty from overseeing ground-based defense preparations. "Admiral, we have reports from the outer colonies. Mars base is holding against landing attempts, and the asteroid mining stations are providing fire support. But the most important developments were happening far from Earth." Dr. Jin-A Wan stood in her laboratory, surrounded by quantum monitoring equipment that showed the effects of the Shadow Protocol devices across the galaxy. "Admiral, the first phase is complete," she announced through the communication link. "All 12 Council homeworlds are now experiencing solar disruption. Temperatures are dropping on every world. The effects were more dramatic than anyone had expected." On the crystalline cities of SciFiPrime, their people watched in terror as their ancient sun grew dimmer each hour. The living crystal beings required solar energy to maintain their molecular cohesion, and the growing darkness threatened their very existence. The Melody homeworld, a gas giant where the species lived in floating cities, was experiencing atmospheric collapse as solar heating decreased. Their gaseous forms began to condense in the cooling environment, forcing them into emergency hibernation. Most affected were the Kythera hive worlds. The insectoid species had built their civilization around precise temperature control for their egg chambers. As their worlds cooled, entire generations of unhatched Kythera began to die. "The Council species are sending desperate messages to their fleets," reported Specialist Hyojin Im from her tactical AI console. "They are demanding immediate withdrawal to defend their homeworlds." Captain Wubin, watching the battle from Taerin's ship, saw the Council formations beginning to break apart. Ships that had maintained perfect attack formations moments before were now turning away from Earth, desperate to return to their dying worlds. "It is working," Sujin said with grim satisfaction. "They cannot maintain their attack when their entire civilization is under threat." Taerin floated beside them, his dolphin-like features showing amazement. "In 3,000 years of Council rule, no species has ever struck at their homeworlds simultaneously. How did humans develop such capability so quickly?" "Because we learned early that the best defense is a good offense," Nari replied. "When threatened, humans do not just protect themselves. They eliminate the threat at its source. But not all. Council ships were retreating. The Vorthak Admiral commanding the main fleet made a desperate decision. If they could not conquer Earth through overwhelming force, they would destroy it completely. "All ships, prepare planet-killer weapons," the Admiral ordered. "We will sterilize this world and prevent the humans from spreading their chaos further." The planet-killer weapons were the Council's ultimate deterrent, massive energy projectors capable of cracking worlds apart. 12 of the enormous ships began charging their main guns, drawing power from their entire fleets. Admiral Kyung-ho saw the energy readings and understood immediately what the Council intended. "All ships, intercept those planet killers. We cannot allow them to charge their weapons." But the distance was too great, and the charging cycle too fast. In 30 minutes, enough energy would be gathered to destroy Earth completely. Dr. Wan was already working on a solution. "Admiral, I can deploy a Shadow Protocol device directly around their fleet. But the effects will be different in open space. Instead of blocking sunlight, it will create a localized space-time distortion. Will it stop them? It will do more than that, sir. It will trap them in a pocket of accelerated time. From their perspective, they will experience normal time flow, but relative to the rest of the universe, they will be moving at nearly light speed. The deployment took precious minutes as Dr. Wan aligned the quantum coordinates. The Shadow Protocol device materialized in the center of the Council formation just as the planet killers reached 80% charge. The effect was immediate and terrifying. The space around the Council fleet began to warp visibly, creating a bubble of distorted reality. Ships that tried to escape found themselves moving slower and slower relative to normal space-time. Inside the bubble, the Vorthak Admiral watched his weapons displays in confusion. Why are our charging cycles slowing down? All ships report status. What? He could not see. Was that outside the bubble? The human fleet was moving at normal speed, while his ships appeared to be frozen in time. The planet killer weapons that should have fired in minutes would now take subjective years to complete their charging cycle. Target the trapped ships, Admiral Kyung-ho ordered. End this. Human weapons fired into the time-dilated bubble, their energy beams moving at normal speed while the Council ships could barely react. One by one, the massive vessels were destroyed by an enemy they could no longer effectively fight. The remaining Council ships, seeing their main fleet trapped and destroyed, finally accepted the inevitable. They began broadcasting surrender signals on all frequencies. But humanity was not finished. Captain Wu Bin had been coordinating with other enslaved species through Tai Rin's network, and the results were about to become apparent. Admiral Shin, this is Captain Lee reporting from the Dorathi vessel Current Singer, came the transmission from deep space. I have information about a larger opportunity. The transmission included intelligence gathered from across the galaxy. The Shadow Protocol was having effects beyond just the Council homeworlds. The psychological impact on the ancient species was devastating. For millions of years, they had been the undisputed masters of the galaxy. Now they faced the prospect of eternal darkness unless they submitted to a species they had considered primitive. Sir, we are receiving surrender offers from 11 of the 12 Council species, reported Commander Kang. They are requesting immediate negotiations. What about the 12th? Admiral Kyung-ho asked. The Vorthak are refusing to surrender. Their remaining leaders are calling for total war, even if it means the destruction of their entire species. Dr. Wan checked her quantum monitoring systems. Admiral, the Vorthak homeworld will experience complete solar blockade within 48 hours. Their entire civilization will begin dying unless the effect is reversed. General Bay joined the discussion from his ground command post. Sir, our intelligence suggests the Vorthak were the primary architects of the plot to eliminate humanity. They convinced the other species to support the extermination order. Admiral Kyung-ho considered the situation carefully. Humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had brought an ancient galactic empire to its knees in a matter of days. But with that victory came responsibility. Open a channel to all Council homeworlds, he ordered. The message that went out across the galaxy was heard by billions of beings who had never imagined they might one day beg for mercy from a species they had tried to exterminate. This is Admiral Kyung-ho Shin of the Earth Defense Forces, speaking for humanity. 3 days ago, you murdered our diplomat and attacked our world. You attempted genocide against our entire species. Now you face the consequences of that decision. On 12 different worlds, ancient beings listened with growing fear as the human continued. We offer terms for the cessation of hostilities, complete withdrawal of all Council military forces from human space, reparations for the murder of Ambassador Dae-ho Kim, dissolution of the current Council structure, and establishment of new galactic governance with human oversight. Any species that agrees to these terms will have the Shadow Protocol effects reversed immediately. The response was swift from 11 species. Surrender messages poured in from across the galaxy as entire civilizations chose survival over pride. Only, the Vorthak remained defiant. Their elders' final message was filled with crystalline rage. We will not bow to primitive creatures. If we must die, we will die as masters, not slaves. Dr. Wan monitored the Vorthak homeworld as it entered its final phase. The Shadow Protocol device was now completely blocking their star. Temperatures had dropped below the survival threshold for their crystal-based biology. Across their homeworld, the ancient structures were beginning to crack as their creators died. "Admiral, the Vorthak cities are going dark," she reported. "Their population centers are shutting down one by one." It was Captain Wubin who made the suggestion that would define humanity's character in the eyes of the galaxy. "Admiral, request permission to take a ship to SciFiPrime. Let me speak with their elder directly." "Captain, that would be incredibly dangerous. They might kill you on sight." "Sir, they are dying. Sometimes facing death makes beings willing to listen to reason." 12 hours later, Captain Wubin stood in the darkened crystal halls of the Vorthak Elder's Palace. The ancient being's form was dim and flickering, its crystalline structure beginning to fracture from the cold. "Human," the elder whispered, its voice like breaking glass. 2 years after the Shadow War, as historians would later call it, Admiral Kyung-ho Shin stood on the observation deck of Nexus Prime. The massive station had been rebuilt under human oversight, its crystal spires now complemented by human architecture. That emphasized cooperation rather than dominance. "Admiral, the morning briefing is ready," announced his aide, Commander Young-Soo Ham. The young officer carried himself with the confidence of someone who had helped reshape galactic civilization. Before his 30th birthday, the briefing room was filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Where once 12 species had ruled through fear and ancient privilege, now 47 different civilizations worked together under the human-led Galactic Federation. Dr. Bo-Ra Cha, the Federation's chief xenopsychologist, presented her latest report on the integration process. The psychological effects of the Shadow War continue to influence galactic politics. The former council species have adapted remarkably well to their new roles as partners, rather than rulers. Fleet Admiral Seok-Jin Ryu, who commanded the Federation's military forces, provided the security update. All former council territories have been pacified. The last Vorthak holdouts surrendered 3 months ago. There have been no significant military incidents in the past year. But the most important voice in the room belonged to Tyrin of the Dorothy, now serving as the Federation's Director of Species Integration. The smaller species that were enslaved under the old council are thriving under human leadership. 23 previously suppressed civilizations have achieved full independence in the past 18 months. Admiral Kyung-ho nodded approvingly. "What about the reparations program?" Young-Soo consulted his tablet. "All former council species have completed their payment schedules for the murder of Ambassador Kim. The Vorthak finished their final payment last month. The resources have been distributed to developing worlds as planned. The transformation of galactic civilization had been remarkable. Humanity had not sought to replace the Council's tyranny with their own. Instead, they had created something unprecedented, a truly cooperative galactic government where every species had a voice proportional to their population and development level." Captain Wubin, now promoted to Admiral and serving as the Federation's chief diplomat, entered the briefing room with news from the outer galaxy. "We have received first contact requests from 17 new species in the Andromeda approach sector. All have heard of the Federation and wish to join voluntarily." The irony was not lost on anyone present. Humanity had achieved in 2 years what the Council had failed to accomplish in millions, willing cooperation from diverse species across the galaxy. Dr. Jin A. Won, now Director of Advanced Research, provided an update on the Shadow Protocol technology. The devices remain deployed around all former Council homeworlds, but in dormant status. They serve as a reminder of the consequences of aggression, while allowing normal stellar radiation to reach the planets. "Any requests for their permanent removal?" Admiral Kyung-ho asked. "Several, but I recommend maintaining them for at least another generation. The psychological deterrent effect is too valuable to lose." The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication from Earth. Nari Choi, now Admiral in charge of interstellar communications, appeared on the main screen with important news. "Admiral Shin, we have received a priority message from the Vorthak homeworld. Elder Zeph-97 requests permission to address the Federation Council directly." This was unprecedented. No Vorthak leader had spoken publicly since their surrender. Admiral Kyung-ho made a quick decision. "Patch the transmission through immediately." The main screen filled with the image of a Vorthak elder whose crystalline form pulsed with what humans had learned to recognize as deep emotion. The being's structure was more brilliant than before the war, suggesting recovery and renewed vitality. "Honored beings of the Federation," the elder began, its voice creating harmonics that the translation systems rendered as profound respect. "I am Elder Zeph-97 of the Vorthak Collective. I speak today to offer something that my species has never given to another, a formal apology." The briefing room fell silent. Even the most optimistic Federation planners had not expected this development. 2 years ago, my people committed an unforgivable crime. We murdered Ambassador Dae-ho Kim, a being who came to us in peace-seeking only friendship and understanding. We attempted genocide against the human species because we feared their potential. The Elder's light pulsed brighter. "We have learned much in these 2 years under human leadership. We have seen mercy where we offered none. We have experienced justice where we provided only oppression. Most importantly, we have discovered what we lost in our millions of years of rule: the ability to grow and change." Admiral Kyung-ho listened with growing amazement as the ancient being continued. "The Vorthak Collective wishes to propose a memorial to Ambassador Kim, to be built jointly by all Federation species. It will stand as a reminder that peace must always be the first choice, and that violence against those who offer friendship is the greatest evil any species can commit." Young-soo leaned over to whisper, "Sir, this could be incredibly significant for long-term stability." But the elder was not finished. "We also wish to share something that we have discovered in our archives, documents that show other young species that were eliminated by the Council over the past million years. 17 different civilizations were destroyed before they could reach full development, all because we feared their potential." The revelation sent shockwaves through the briefing room. Dr. Cha made rapid notes while calculating the implications. "Admiral, if this is accurate, it means the old council was responsible for multiple genocides across galactic history." Elder Zeph-97's final words carried the weight of genuine remorse. "We offer these records as evidence of our crimes, and as proof that the human response to our aggression was not only justified but necessary. The galaxy is safer and more just under human leadership than it ever was under council rule." The transmission ended, leaving the briefing room in contemplative silence. Admiral Kyung-ho looked around at his diverse staff, seeing representatives of dozens of species working together in ways that would have been impossible under the old system. "Admiral, how do you want to respond?" Young-soo asked. "Schedule A, Federation-wide address for tomorrow. It is time to formally close the book on the Council era and look toward the future." The next day, beings across the galaxy watched as Admiral Kyung-ho stood before the Federation Council in the Great Assembly Hall of Nexus Prime. Behind him hung a holographic image of Ambassador Dae-ho Kim, captured during his final speech before the old council. "Citizens of the galaxy," the Admiral began, "2 years ago, one man died trying to build bridges between species. His death sparked a war that ended an age of tyranny and began an era of cooperation." The camera panned across the assembly, showing Vorthak sitting beside humans, Melody floating near Dorothy, and dozens of other species working together as equals. Ambassador Dae-ho Kim went to the stars believing that different species could find common ground. He was murdered for that belief, but his dream did not die with him. It grew stronger until it became the foundation of the civilization we have built together. The Admiral gestured to the diverse assembly. "Today, we formally establish the Kim Memorial Foundation, dedicated to peaceful first contact with new species and the prevention of interspecies conflict. It will be funded by all Federation members and guided by the principles that Ambassador Kim died defending." Fleet Admiral Seok-jin presented the memorial design, a crystal structure that would be built on Nexus Prime, incorporating elements from every Federation species. At its center would be Ambassador Kim's final words: "We tried to be peaceful, but..." The most moving moment came when the Vorthak Elder approached the podium. The ancient being's form pulsed with colors that their species used to express the deepest emotions. "The Vorthak Collective requests permission to add one element to this memorial," the Elder said. "Our most sacred crystals, formed over millions of years in the heart of our homeworld. They will surround Ambassador Kim's memorial with light that will never fade." The gesture was unprecedented. The Vorthak had never shared their sacred crystals with any other species. It was their way of acknowledging that some human lives were worth more than their entire ancient civilization. Dr. Wan, watching from her research station on Earth, activated the final phase of the Shadow Protocol project, the dormant devices. Around the former Council worlds began broadcasting a new signal, not the darkness of blocked starlight, but a gentle pulse of energy that could be seen from space. "What is that signal?" asked Young Su. "A memorial beacon," Dr. Wan replied. "Every former Council world now broadcasts Ambassador Kim's final speech into space. Any species that develops radio astronomy will eventually detect it and learn the story of what happens when diplomacy is met with violence." Years passed, and the galaxy thrived under Federation leadership. Trade flourished between species that had been enemies for millennia. Scientific cooperation led to breakthroughs that no single species could have achieved alone. Arts and culture blended in ways that created beauty beyond imagination. But perhaps the most important change was philosophical.